When a disheveled old man shuffled into the fine jewelry store, the staff dismissed him as just another curious onlooker. They eventually threw him out. Little did they know, this man's worn appearance hid something more precious than any jewel. The Chevalier Fine Jewelry Store was unusually quiet on this New York morning, while the showroom dazzled with gold and gems priced for the impossibly wealthy. The staff waited eagerly for the next customer. Those who entered moved with an air of belonging, at ease in this world of exclusive luxury. The clerks were good at their jobs. They could spot a potential buyer at a glance, recognizing designer labels and subtle signs of wealth. This man, with his hunched back and scruffy clothes, offered no such clues. Their interest faded as soon as they set eyes on him. He could be lost, mistaking the store for something else. His unusual behavior was puzzling. His name was Walter Smith, a tired man in his 80s. He had come with a purpose. Every slow step carried the weight of a love he wouldn't forget. He approached the front desk and set down a worn canvas bag. "Please take a look at this," he asked. The receptionist's practiced smile couldn't hide her disgust. Walter circled the displays. His worn shoes squeaked on the pristine marble. He looked focused, not just dazzled. The staff watched in silent amusement. This old man, out of place and out of step with the times, probably didn't know his own name, let alone the names of the famous jewelers around him. His clothes said it all: faded flannel shirt, loose jeans worn at the cuffs, and a misshapen hat meant for sun protection, not style. He clashed with the polished elegance of the shop. The staff exchanged glances, hiding their unspoken judgments. This was a place where dreams had price tags, not sentimental value. The old man moved slowly, examining each piece with care. Finally, his gaze settled on a necklace that seemed to hold the warmth of a stolen sunset. "What is the story behind these stones?" "Their color? It's unlike anything I've ever seen." Walter rasped, his voice barely a whisper over the piped-in classroom music. Sarah, one of the senior sales managers, explained that they were rare Burmese rubies known for their intense pigeon blood red, almost alive with a fiery glow. She went on to technical details about their rarity and craftsmanship, but his eyes remained focused on the necklace itself and the price. Walter's voice cracked slightly at the boldness of his question. Sarah quoted a number, an unimaginable amount for a man like Walter. She added, "However, this piece is technically on hold. Perhaps I can show you more." The unspoken word appropriate hung in the air, but why is that? "There's a price tag on the necklace? Doesn't that mean the necklace is for sale?" The old man objected, feeling the senior manager's disdainful gaze. "Sir, I don't know your name, but it doesn't matter. This necklace is already spoken for, and with rising costs, it may be out of your price range anyway, so maybe you'll have better luck with something less extravagant." The sales manager said. She turned away, relieved to have dismissed the old man so easily. Disappointment flickered across Walter's face, but he quickly overcame it. "No, thank you," he muttered as he shuffled away, leaving his canvas bag forgotten on the floor, a piece of trash. In this fancy world, he didn't notice the salesman giggling behind him or the way they kicked his bag out of sight. A wordless insult. Only one young employee, Elliot, saw the sadness in the old man's eyes. He felt sorry for him as the heavy glass doors closed behind Walter. Elliot hurried after him, the battered bag in his hand. "Sir, you forgot this," he called. Walter hadn't gone far. His steps were slow and heavy. Elliot gently touched the old man's shoulder. Walter saw a flicker of surprise and something like shame in his eyes. "You left this behind," Elliot said, holding out the worn canvas bag, then immediately added, Please, sir, accept my apologies for my colleagues' behavior. They completely misjudged you." Walter, taken aback by the young man's kindness, managed a faint smile. He opened the bag, revealing neat piles of bills. Wrinkled, well used, but an amazing amount. Elliot gasped, puzzled and curious, with quiet strength. The old man began his story of years of collecting discarded bottles and cans and taking them to recycling centers. Every cent painstakingly saved. It wasn't for himself, but for his wife, Mary, who had adored a particular necklace in the Chevalier's window, made of beautiful sapphires and diamonds, like a piece of the twilight sky. The twilight sky. It was an impossible dream, made worse by rising prices. Walter's voice cracked as he explained that their house had been sold to pay for Mary's cancer treatment. They accepted the trailer park as their new reality, but her illness was relentless with what little he could earn. His savings had once seemed enough for the necklace, but now his dream for Mary was out of reach. Elliot listened intently. He, too, knew the pain of delayed dreams. His own savings for a down payment on an apartment had come from sacrifices, working overtime, giving up nights out with friends. But Walter's love. His sacrifice put things into perspective. After walking Walter home, Elliot couldn't forget the heartbroken look on Walter's face as he left the jewelry store empty-handed. He was deeply moved by the old man's story. He had to help, but his own savings were meant for an apartment. Still, seeing Walter's empty hands made him uneasy. Elliot made a quick decision, driven by a feeling too strong to ignore. With a mixture of nerves and determination, he gathered his hard-earned cash. Late that night, a small package in his hand. Elliot knocked on the door of Walter's trailer. "Here's what you need," he said, handing over the money. "Buy Mary this necklace." It was her tears that welled up in Walter's eyes, not from sadness, but from the shock of relief and the man's kindness. The next day, Walter returned to Chevalier Fine Jewelry, and this time the staff recognized him, but with a mixture of surprise and confusion. Gone was the disheveled man of yesterday. His clothes were carefully pressed. His shoes were polished, showing the importance of the moment. He held the same worn canvas bag with a newfound pride. Sarah, who had released him. Before she could speak, Walter carefully opened the bag and counted out the exact amount for the necklace. Her eyes widened as he carefully counted out the exact amount for the necklace. The showroom fell silent. Everyone watched this shocking turn of events, and after carefully inspecting the necklace, Walter bought it. Even those who had mocked him felt a tinge of respect. Elliot watched from a distance, not with envy, but with satisfaction. Walter's joy was worth more than any jewel that left Chevalier Walter almost floated home, the necklace box in his weathered hand feeling unbearably heavy, with love and loss inside. He smiled, then gently took Mary's hand with a touch of his help. She shuffled slowly out of their sight. Weak from illness. He gestured to a small patch of dirt where a warning swing stood, the only thing left of the house they'd sold. Mary looked at him, confused with trembling fingers. Walter opened the box lightly, caught the sapphires, making them glow even under the dull sky. Mary gasped, her eyes reflecting the twilight blue of the gems. "My love," Walter said, his voice thick with emotion. "This was always meant for you." With infinite care, he fastened the necklace around her neck. Mary touched it with tears. "Oh, Walter," she murmured. "I feel like a queen. It's perfect for one precious hour." The necklace brought back a spark of the woman Mary used to be. She laughed, something Walter hadn't heard in years. In a moment, when her illness seemed far away, The sun dipped below the horizon as they sat on the old swing holding hands. Mary died peacefully the next day. The memory of the joy the necklace brought would remain, with Walter providing a touch of comfort. Walter finally returned to Chevalier. He smiled when he saw Elliot, a hint of his old mischievous self returning to Elliot. I may have found a misplaced buyer willing to pay full price for an exquisite necklace. He winked, then continued. Let's just say this is Mary's way of giving you a helping hand. Consider it a bonus, and with your work ethic, I know this apartment won't be a dream for long. He knew the sacrifice Elliot had made and wanted to honor it. It was a reminder that even in the midst of our struggles, kindness has the power to make a difference. Treat every person you meet with kindness and respect, for you never know the weight on their hearts or the storms in their souls. So in a world where you can be anything, be kind,